Hey everyone, as ever, I have been given the nudge by the universe to come and make a video. And the theme today seems to be a pleasant theme for once, all about glimpsing heaven on earth, glimpsing moments of bliss, feeling like we have actually entered a whole new reality, a whole new realm. And it feels as though it's been a really long time in the coming. I just spent a blissful few days in Mistley in Witchfinder General Country in the east of England in Essex. It's 1919 on my clock as I record this, which is really interesting. And I partook in a really beautiful, just a small, intimate solstice ceremony with a group of women, very small group of women, close friends and friends of friends. And we gathered around the tree, old Knobley, or Mr. Knobley, the tree where women very famously hid inside the trunk of this huge oak tree from Matthew Hopkins, the Witchfinder General. And there was a real change in the air. The last time I visited that place, I had some really powerful sort of past life, other lifetime memories that were quite traumatic, and I was picking up on a lot of the imprints of the energy of what had historically gone on in that region before. There was quite a lot of spirit release. There was a lot of sort of clearing old imprints from the land. But this time around, we really felt like it was kind of flipped. It was like we were anchoring in much more of the new earth frequencies and much more of the heaven on earth program and energies that we've been building towards for such a long time. And we actually felt really tangible evidence of that. We walked around the tree. I had my drum. We sang. We put beautiful roses and flowers in the tree, and we honored all of the ancestors, and particularly the wise women who had gone before us. And we asked for, the return to the balance of the masculine and feminine, and for all on this planet, and love for all on this planet. And afterwards, we went for dinner at the Mistley Thorn, which had previously been the Witchfinder General's home. And it really felt like a reclaiming of that space. And we had actually the most incredible time. And there are only four of us that managed to go to dinner, but we spoke about it afterwards. We really felt like the whole day and the whole evening was just blissful. It was serene, it flowed. It really felt like this is what it's all about, this connection, this community, this, no topic of conversation off limits, no judgment of each other, just living in pure unconditional love, sharing and growing together and honoring each other, and no contest, no competition, no weirdness, just pure connection and love and honoring. And I've had quite a few moments of this recently, and it really feels like this whole new frequency, this new consciousness is starting to peek through the cracks, peep its head above the parapet. So you might just find that you catch yourself having these moments of, oh, everything's good, everything's okay, it's all bliss, it's all wonderful. And yet, there seems to be also, at other times, this real a stretching out of duality, a feeling of disconnect, really, with certain people. And, many of us have known about a kind of a feeling of a split in the collective for quite some time. That really started in the pandemic in earnest. And you might even be seeing it and feeling it within your relationships with very close partners, friends, and family. But the invitation here is to just hold to your course, hold to your new footing, your grounding in the new earth, and just to trust, just to stay in trust. There are many that are kind of almost clinging to the old way of being, And it is hard to make that leap, to make that transition into a new way of being, a new level of consciousness, to come out of the grooves that we have sort of carved ourselves into. It's really hard to change direction or change track when you're so in your habits. And many of us are so in our habits. And I know that when you're conscious of a habit that's not feeling like it's necessarily a healthy habit or a good habit, when you're conscious of that and you make an earnest effort to come out of it, it does take work. It can take work. And a lot of these habits are so in our muscle memory. And letting go is what the angels and the guides are talking to me about today. What is it that you need to let go of through unconditional love, through gentle surrender, through a kind of loving acceptance, in order to really, really live your bliss, in order to live your happiness? Some of us are letting go of addictions or habits. Some of us are letting go of people, relationships. Some of us are just letting go of old programming and thought processes. Some of us are letting go of, and I think this one is quite powerful in the collective, letting go of our old stories, the old stories of our trauma, the stories of pain that we cling to as a kind of a distorted life raft, if you will. What old stories of pain or trauma have you been repeatedly telling yourself or living out? And where might you be ready to let that go and give yourself permission to experience that level of bliss or the level of joy? And I feel like there's definitely this part of myself that for such a long time hasn't trusted in the joy, because the joy has felt, I guess, a bit few and far between in recent years. And for those of us really consciously doing the work to clear, and the guides are using the word revolutionize our lives, revolutionize and evolutionize our lives and the course of our lives, and move against the grain of what has so long played out on this planet. It has felt like a tough old slog. It's felt like a tough old slog. And I have, many clients and friends and colleagues, and many of these happen to be women. Don't necessarily know why that is. Maybe because there has been a determined witch hunt against women for such a long time. But that feeling of, I'm doing this all on my own, and nobody sees me, nobody has my back, nobody understands where I'm coming from, and that feeling of knowing that you're witnessing a level of truth that others maybe haven't been able to see or still can't yet see. It's a very lonely feeling. And it's a very strange feeling. And at times when you see truth play out, it can make you feel like you're going a bit nuts. And the key here is really just grounding into your own frequency, your own reality, your own truth, and your own bliss, your own joy, your own loves and wants, and your own desires, and saying yes to the things that light you up, even if nobody else agrees with what you're doing, what you're thinking, your way of being. Finding those moments of bliss within, and the simple things that really do bring you joy, is often the stuff that moves mountains. I just want to pull us a card, and I pulled out Archangel Fire Oracle today just to see where the guidance is with this. And as always, these are just little thoughts that I'm sort of mulling over in my head. And the first card to flip out is the Twin Erin, but this is the Blind Justice card. This is, again, where I was saying the other day, in the power of trust, of not really knowing how you're going to get through something, but trusting that you're going to get through it. There's something about this card tonight, though, that I've noticed that is different, and it's something that I never really focused on before, is I'm really drawn to the golden wheat sheaf here and the woman holding it, which she reminds me a lot of Demeter, the goddess of the harvest. There's something about the fact that she's holding this wheat sheaf, but she's blindfolded, and so the message coming through feels like, what gold, what treasure are you already holding that you're not noticing? Where are you not seeing your wealth? Where are you not feeling grateful for what you have right in front of you? Are you not seeing something? Are you not seeing someone? And it's really interesting to me that this is a man and a woman. They are both holding the scales. It's a message of justice and balance, the balance of all things. He's holding the sword, but he's not holding it up to fight. He's holding it as though he's drawing a line in the sand, as though it's like, enough, the buck stops here. I'm not going any further. I'm standing in my truth. And the sword looking like a T, looking like a capital T, is like, I'm going to stand here. I'm going to hold this truth, and I'm not budging from my justice, my integrity, my truth, from who I am. I'm not budging from who I am. But she's not budging from her abundance, from her values, is what I get in this. She's not budging from her values. But somewhere there's a balance, there's a meeting, there's a justice in the middle of this, and the heart is being weighed against a feather. So it's like this meeting of minds, the balance of the masculine and feminine within, the balance of power being restored to the planet. And what I get from this card is that the feminine is actually reclaiming her place as a value, as a treasure, as gold within our political systems, within our justice systems, within all the systems on our planet, and within our daily waking lives. And it's interesting to me that we have a man and a woman here, and they're both dressed in white, which makes me think of a wedding. And I also think of marriage as an institution, the institutions that have historically been meant to represent love, and how often they do. Often within these old kind of patriarchal, archaic structures can leave